Ladies and gentlemen, let us all rise for the arrival of the Honorable Senate President and the Senators of the Republic of the Philippines.
Eleven pa lang.
Senator Pia, sir.
Hmm?
Pang-12 si Senator Pia.
Asan?
Si CR lang, sir.
Sino prayer? The 13th session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 18th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Amy Marcos will lead the chamber in prayer.
A prayer for the nation. Father of all mankind, we ask you to look down upon your people that we may have the grace and wisdom to look into ourselves, and in so doing see our weaknesses and our strengths. So many of us have lived in corruption, greed, and violence, forgetting that this nation or any other nation cannot survive and grow and prosper unless we learn to live as brothers, striving not for our selfish ends, but for the common good. Give us strength to rebuild our lives, leaving forever our selfish, corrupt, and derelict ways. Make us see what we are and what we could be. Open our eyes, our minds, and our hearts to do the things that need to be done and the things that we can do to make this rich and beautiful land a joy and comfort to our people. When the day's toil is ended, teach us to look at the morrow's labor as part of our continuing sacrifice. Bring us not to the temptation of luxury, ease, or privilege, nor to the blandishments of power or comfort that corrupt, but make of us a sturdy race, self-reliant, cheerful, and upright. Cleanse us finally of all our anger, our bitterness, our recriminations of the past. Spare us the doubts and anxieties of the present, and purify us for our sacrifice, so that we may raise a people who will be their own strength today, their own warranty against the future. So help us, God. Amen.
Amen. The Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members, the Honorable Senators Angara, Binay, Cayetano, De Lima, De La Rosa, Drilon, Gatchalian, Go, Gordon, Ontiveros, Lacson, Lapid, Marcos, Pacquiao, Pangilinan, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Villanueva, Villar, Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
With 16 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have with us today some special guests, particularly the head of the Civil Service Commission, Commissioner Alicia de la Rosa Bala, together with Assistant Commissioner Ronquillo, and members of the Civil Service Commission. We also have with us, Mr. President, President Director General, Brigadier General Charito Plaza, and Mayor Judy Amante of Cabadbaran, Agusan del Norte, Mr. President.
We welcome all our guests to the Senate this afternoon. Thank you.
And I believe we also have our brand new DBM secretary in the lounge today, Mr. President. Mr. President, we dispense with the reading of the journals of the 11th session, Wednesday, August 14, 2019, and the 12th session, Monday, August 19, 2019, and consider them approved, as also amended from yesterday's discussion, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved. The journals are approved as amended.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I avail of the privilege hour, Mr. President? with the permission of the body.
Yes, the majority leader is recognized, Senator Mixabini.
Thank you, Mr. President. I took this opportunity to avail of the privilege hour, especially the fact that we still do not have committee reports, and we can discuss. Now, I encourage our colleagues, Mr. President, to discuss about their advocacies, although if they can hear me, Mr. President, because I can't hear myself, Mr. President.
May we ask a little more silence from the hall, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, as I said earlier, I encourage all our colleagues while we're still waiting for the committee reports from your committees to discuss and open up your advocacies during privilege hour the next few weeks. That's why I stand here today, Mr. President, as a matter of collective and personal privilege on an issue that affects every single person who has ever had to endure traffic in Metro Manila, particularly traffic along EDSA, that great avenue that has been canonized in our history books, the same EDSA that has now become historic for all the wrong reasons, being one of the densest urban thoroughfares in Southeast Asia, if not the world. Probably, Mr. President, also the most number of memes for a highway could be credited to EDSA. Meron pa nga akong nabasa kung gusto mong maging malapit sa inyong mahal sa puso, pumunta po kayo sa EDSA at matagal-tagal po kayo pwede magkwentuhan doon. Dahil nakaupo pa kayo sa sasakyan ng halos 4 na oras. Mr. President, in 2016, exactly 3 years ago, August of 2016, I brought up the concept of inclusive mobility in this chamber. Inclusive mobility is a people-centric framework of mobility. It ensures that all sectors of society have access to safe and efficient transport systems, meaning in solving our traffic problems, we should not only focus on vehicular traffic, but we should also consider commuter experience and other means of moving our people around in our cities. Inclusive mobility is such that would increase productivity and support acceleration of economic growth. Recent studies show that economic cost of traffic in Metro Manila ranges from 3 to 3.5 billion pesos daily and continues to rise as traffic in Metro Manila worsens. It was then that I raised the proposal for the construction of elevated walkways along EDSA for the use of pedestrians and bikers. 3 years later, the project has gone unrealized, and the traffic in Metro Manila has worsened considerably, especially in the hellscape that is called EDSA. Mr. President, I even recall in the 2018 budget hearings, MMDA had said they had allotted 400 million for elevated walkways in the Ortigas EDSA area. And I'm surprised when we asked them last week during the hearing of Senator Grace Poe, the hearing on public services, they said there was no such funds. Although there was an item on that particular budget, Mr. President, which was the 2019 budget. So I stand here today to restate my case and stress our urgent need to reorient our urban mobility scheme to be more inclusive and people-friendly. We can try all manners of regulations to control vehicular activity on EDSA, but the truth is, there is no controlling the kind of vehicular volume that avenue ferries every day. The only way to truly introduce changes is to create alternative channels of transport, preferably ones that are more favorable to commuters rather than motorists. When I gave my privilege speech in August of 2016, the volume on EDSA was at 360,000 vehicles a day. At the close of 2018, the number has rocketed to 400,000 vehicles a day, going over the daily capacity of 280,000 or 288,000 vehicles by 40%. And reading the LTO statistics, we can clearly see a trend of growth in the number of vehicles in Metro Manila. In 2016, there were 2.4 million registered vehicles in the National Capital Region alone, and by 2017, that number ballooned to 20.6 million, and by 2018, it has gone up to 20.8 million vehicles. Every year, more Filipinos are adding to the already packed traffic situation as car prices and down payment schemes become more affordable. and we can only expect the numbers to steadily climb, Mr. President. Private vehicles comprise of over 80% of the volume in EDSA. The problem then does not really lie in the not just only lie in the pasaway in the buses and jeeps, although they do not help the situation, but in the sheer number of private cars that clog EDSA every day. The question now is how to get drivers and riders out of their cars and into a mobilization framework that prioritizes people over motor vehicles. How do we get people to leave the comforts of private transport when commuting and navigating the sidewalks of EDSA as a pedestrian, which is a cumbersome, inconvenient, and often unsafe endeavor? We need to create walkable, bikeable cities, Mr. President. Currently, EDSA sidewalks supposedly for pedestrians and PWDs are narrow and overly crowded with vendors, parked vehicles, electric posts, plant boxes, not to mention pickpockets and other individuals of ill intent roaming about. These sidewalks are near unnavigable and make it difficult for pedestrians to walk from, say, a call center shift in Ortigas to a rented apartment along Boni, or for a TNVS food delivery rider stuck in whereabouts in Cubao to bike home to Quezon Avenue. An elevated walkway or bike lane along EDSA would open up a new people-centric avenue to connect Metro Manila's major business districts. We really must consider the alternative transport channel, as it will not only ease up vehicular traffic in our roads, but it will also be pro-poor, pro-people project that will give citizens of all walks of life an avenue for safe and easy mobility. Mr. President, I'm showing you pictures. These are pictures of countries that have adopted this system. Look at in Seoul, Korea. This was in Shanghai, China. The previous picture, this is in Bangkok, Thailand, Mr. President. You can see the traffic in Bangkok is legendary. And yet, they were able to create an alternative route for commuters, Mr. President. This is in Boston, Massachusetts. We could have our EDSA walkways look like this, comfortable, air-conditioned, all-weather, where our people can walk. It is not such a bad walk, Mr. President. From end to end of EDSA, from EDSA Ross Boulevard all the way to EDSA Balintawak, the corner of Balintawak, is 26 kilometers. And Makati to Ortigas is only 7 kilometers, Mr. President. That is nothing for Pia Cayetano. Senator Pia Cayetano can jog that, can go jogging in that, and she'll be there in how many minutes per kilometer? I think she probably runs below 4 minutes a kilometer. So definitely, she can be in her destination quite easily. And you know, when I went into, when I was in Singapore, their walkways, Mr. President, allowed people who had the motorized mopeds. Naka-motorized moped sila po, may isang lane sila dun. So they can take this little scooter na, it's a moped. It's not a moped. It's like a two-wheeler na, yung para sa skateboard na may handle. Yan, kind of scooter bang tawag dyan? Kasi scooter din yung tawag sa motorsiklo. Pero that can be utilized and easily packable in our backpacks. So our people can put it in their backpacks after work or during work, and then when they have to go home, they just put it out and use that in our elevated and protected walkways, Mr. President. So, as I said, these walkways will not discriminate between those who can afford to endure traffic in a luxury car and those who must resort to cheap, overcapacity open-air buses that are exposed to all the filth and smog in the city. These elevated walkways, everyone will be on equal footing to get where they need to be. We all have the support and cooperation of alternative transport advocates such as ALT, Mobility, and commuters groups like Move Manila in our bid to bring these elevated walkways to reality. The Filipino public has long been clamoring for positive change in the nation's traffic situation. I fully believe that this elevated walkway is a step towards that. And let us all work together towards a future of clean, safe, walkable cities that accommodate the need for the commuting public. Just this weekend, Mr. President, and I'd like to make this announcement. Just this weekend, our dear minority floor leader, Senator Franklin Drilon, was honored by the city of Iloilo and all the stakeholders because he has transformed what was once a dirty, noisy, I would say, deteriorating city to what it is now, one of the most livable cities of the country, and a walking city at that. If you have seen their esplanade, which will take them from one end of Iloilo City to the other, it is absolutely beautiful. It is now the peg of several cities and provinces. We are trying, Bukidnon and Cagayan de Oro, together with Senator Coco Pimentel, we're trying to do the same. Hopefully, one day, we can do what Senator Drilon has done for Iloilo City. So, Mr. President, and we have to give credit where credit is due. So it is possible, Mr. President, but we have to put all our minds, hearts, and resources to it. I'm prepared, Mr. President, to work for an institutional amendment with the permission of Senator Lacson in the 2020 budget and the permission of Senator Angara that will allot at least 1 billion pesos for phase 1 of this project connecting either Quezon City to Ortigas or Ortigas to Makati. And I enjoin my colleagues to support this institutional amendment in this endeavor to support the welfare of the Filipino public. I think, Mr. President, kung nagkakaproblema tayo sa additional trains and we're still waiting for the metro subway, which will be underground, which will take another 6 to 7 years to build, it is easy. This is a Makati walkway, Mr. President, done by the family of the Binays, and we have Senator Binay with us here. And if you walk around Ayala and the Ayala Center, you can go from one area to another without passing through the driveways and roads. It's all elevated, and it connects to all the malls, Mr. President. So it is quite convenient, and it's actually being used in the city of Makati. So, Mr. President, how I dream that one day I just get out of my house, walk towards EDSA, go up the elevated walkway, take my little scooter, end up here in the Senate without having to go through our thoroughfares or even step foot in EDSA, Mr. President, with these elevated walkways. I hope that dream will become a reality, and with all your support, the support of this chamber, we can make this happen. Thank you, Mr. President.
Before we refer your speech to the Committee on Public Services, I know that you're still very young. So, do you know the original name of EDSA?
Highway 54. I was told by
No.
Senator Recto, who's slightly older than me.
No, he's too young to know the real name.
Oh, what's the real
The
name? sir?
original name of Highway 54, before it became Highway 54, was Avenida 19 de Junio.
Avenida 19
De Junio.
de Junio.
In 1946, it was named Avenida 19 de Junio. I was watching the Who Wants to be a Millionaire. That was a question.
Ang hirap naman ng tanong na yan. That
yeah.
was a very difficult.
You won't believe it, but the contestant was not able to answer. But my houseboy was able to answer.
How come, sir, Mr. President?
He was born that time.
Same day.
He was already alive during that time, 1946. And then in 1950, it became Highway 54. It was changed in 1959 because the reason they named it Highway 54 is because they thought it was 54 kilometers. When I found out that it was not, and it was only 26 kilometers, as you have correctly pointed out,
Yes.
they changed it to Epifanio de los Santos Avenue.
I see. Thank you for that information, Mr. President.
Right.
I did not know that, Mr. President, so now at least we know.
Yes,
The
that
original
will
name of
contribute
EDSA.
to your elevated walkway.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President. Oh, Senator
Senator
Cayetano.
Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the indulgence of the senator from Bukidnon, may I ask a few questions and also give my comments?
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to commend the gentleman for an amazing idea, presentation. You have my full support. And I'd like to put on record that I don't believe that this is an amendment or just a whimsical advocacy, but this is a necessity that millions and millions of not just Metro Manila residents, but provincial residents from the south and the north will appreciate. And I personally appreciate it because not only, let's skip the obvious, that it is an alternative to driving through the streets. Even if you say we improve the commuter system, just the other day, I saw a line that was probably 100 meters long to get on the MRT. So sad, you know? Because we just have a huge population that cannot be accommodated by the current transportation system we have. So to be able to encourage walking, riding on a scooter, and may I add to those options, skateboarding, skating, biking.
Biking, yeah.
Yes, Mr. Senate President, all of the above. These are all health benefits to the Filipino people, which is so amazing because when we do get around to organizing my Sustainable Development Goals Committee, these are the things that we would like to bring to the consciousness that a lot of these goals, making our cities livable, will also address health concerns, will also address environmental concerns. So I fully support, and I'd like to put on record also, His Honor might like to be a co-author. I filed also a bicycle act. And in the city of Taguig, just how you had mentioned the Honorable Senator Drilon's esplanade, which I've had the pleasure of walking on, running on, and I've also biked in Iloilo. In Taguig, we actually have a separate bike lane and a separate pedestrian lane, aside from the road for the vehicles. Secretary Villar has provided for this because the idea is for this multi-use roads to go around the entire Laguna Lake. We're one of the few countries left in the world that is not taking advantage of our Laguna Lake that is so beautiful, you know. In other countries, these are prime residential or commercial properties, but sa atin po, medyo napapabayaan. In addition to that, I also want to mention that the budget for this is really something that I feel is an absolute necessity. It will really, when you showed the pictures of Bangkok, I actually have personal memories, as maybe many of our colleagues have here, of walking along those elevated walkways with my kids. You know, my toddlers would run, and because it's so safe. They can actually walk from one hotel to whether it's a mall or wherever your destination is, away from the traffic, and in a very safe way. So I'd like to ask His Honor if this is something that he has discussed with DPWH already. Senator Migs, is this something that has already been in the pipeline or have some discussions with DPWH?
Actually, I sound like a broken record every hearing of the budget and the budgets of the DOTR and the DPWH. And the complaint is there's no allocated budget for this. But I clearly recall, and I'm sure my colleagues who were with me then clearly recall that during the budget hearing of the DOTR, of the MMDA, they already had 400 million. But it was utilized for something, probably something else, because they didn't build anything. So what we want to happen is for 2020 to have a dedicated budget on an elevated walkway on a particular area. And I need my colleagues to support us on this.
What I will propose is that this dedicated budget would be, I actually have a build. It's already been read through first reading. Build for healthcare. Build for education. And I've actually asked my team to already draft a build for non-motorized roads. So I would be happy to use that as a vehicle for His Honor's dream, because it's also my dream. And with the permission of our chairman of the Committee on Finance, I believe I was already designated as the vice chairman for DOTR, and I would be happy to take budget away somewhere else to put it in there to support this noble project, Mr. President.
Thank you. And I believe the last meeting we had with the Public Services Committee, there was actually a undersecretary there who said they have a plan already. So they were actually in the feasibility study stage. And I said, lahat naman yata ng project na nakatiwangwang sa gobyerno ay palaging nasa feasibility study stage. This is so simple. You have to just get the top architects in the country.
Exactly.
How difficult is it to build something like that? Makati did it. Iloilo did it. And of course, Taguig does it. Because I know it's a very walkable city, the city
Yes.
of Taguig. So it doesn't take rocket science to build an elevated walkway. I think maybe chicken or the egg scenario, they'll say, oh, we can't build it because there's no funding. So I suggest that maybe
Put the
we can
funding.
allot the funding so that they are committed to build it and we'll hold them accountable for it. I think that would
One
be the
last
best.
point, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
President. I'm very supportive of e-vehicles. However, I'd like to point out that to me this takes precedence because e-vehicles will, despite the fact that they potentially will not contribute to the pollution, but if you dig further until the source of that energy that will fuel the e-vehicle, it is also fossil fuel, no? So it still goes back to that. But they will still be additional vehicles on the road. So that's why this, to me, takes precedence over that, because this is non-motorized vehicle. So again, congratulations to His
Thank
Honor, and I
you.
have my support. And I hope
you
all
so
our
much.
colleagues will support as well. Thank you.
Actually, when we gave this speech in 2016, I clearly remember using you as an example of senators who who believe in inclusive mobility. You used to bike to work. I know you used to bike even in your campaign, and this is perfect for bikers because you're safe. If you bike now in EDSA, chances are you might die of being run over by a bus or by a private vehicle. So ito ma'am, it will not be very difficult, Mr. President, to do. You can put it on one side of EDSA, like an L shape similar to what they did in Makati, and that's not very difficult to build. So I thank the lady senator from Taguig for her support, and I'm hopefully counting on all our colleagues for support as well. So thank you, Mr. President. If I may we refer the speech, Mr. President, Senator Angara would like to be recognized.
Senator Angara is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to commend our hardworking Majority Leader for his brilliant speech. And I read his press release regarding his advocacy for elevated walkways as a way out of Carmageddon, which is what we call the current state of EDSA. And in addition to the remarks of the lady from Taguig, who I confirm will defend the budget of the Department of Transportation, I was talking to an official of the PNR today, and for the record, just to emphasize how car-dominated our policies are, Mr. President. In 1938, we had 2,400 kilometers of rail all over the country. Could anyone venture to guess how many kilometers of rail we have at present?
Less than 1,000.
It's 77, Mr. President.
Oh my God.
77.
Less than 100.
We have regressed, Mr. President. That is the tyranny of the automobile. So I think there's a time we need to reboot our thinking, and there is an opportunity for us as policymakers to do it. And I just wanted to put that on record because information given to me is that one car of an MRT or an LRT can carry 2,500 passengers in a day, 2,200 I think, which is equivalent to 48 cars plying the road. So every time we invest in a train, which is not just one car, it's several cars, we take that number of cars off the road. So it's something to consider long term, Mr. President. And I thank the gentleman from Bukidnon, the good majority leader, for bringing this to the floor of the Senate for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much, sir, dear
I
colleague.
think I will have to correct myself. I think we should refer this to the Committee on Public Works and not Public Services, perhaps secondarily.
Yes, maybe we can do, because the design, I believe, is with the public committee, public services to the DOTR. Maybe we can do public works and secondarily referred to
Public
public
services,
services.
correct.
Mr. President.
All right, is that the motion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Any
So moved.
objection? Hearing none, so referred.
And you know, Mr. President, just an additional information, an easy leisurely walk is about, for 1 kilometer, would take about 8 minutes for a kilometer. Leisure, 8 to 10, 8 to 10. So, Ortigas to Makati is about 6 kilometers. Mga 1 hour po yan. Mga 1 hour na lakad yan. From Ortigas to lampas ng Guadalupe and then going towards maybe Rockwell
6
area.
kilometers, yeah.
Yeah, mga 6
That's
kilometers.
less than 18 holes.
Yes, sir. And yet, if we're stuck in heavy traffic, abutin ka ng 2.5 hours. It would be faster and healthier for you to walk in a comfortable, elevated walkway to reach your destination. It'll make you lose weight. You're healthier as long as it's enclosed. Wala pong pollution pumapasok sa loob. I think it would be the best for our people. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Before you proceed, I think you will proceed with the reference of business, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, Mr. President.
But I think there is a very important person waiting for you in the lounge.
Would you like to suspend
Yes.
first, Mr. President, so that we can
Unless
meet with,
there is a very important matter you would like to take up, we can suspend.
Senator Drilon
after.
would just like to take the floor, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah, I was not surprised that you were talking about the success of Iloilo and Senator Drilon, because he really lives up to be your hatchet man. Minority Leader is recognized.
Mr. President, on a serious note, I regret to go back to this, but in the Journal of Session number 11, which is on August 14, 2019, it accurately reflects on page 261 the correction that we made. And let me just read it for the record. On the right column, it says, at this point, Senator Drilon stated for the record that he would oppose the reimposition of the death penalty, regardless of its coverage. This is the correct correction that we place on the record. However, if you look at the August 19 journal for session number 12, you go to the bottom of page 1, right column, it now reads the correction, the sentence is, at this point, Senator Drilon stated for the record that he would oppose the reconsideration of the death penalty. So there is obviously a typographical error. It should not be reconsideration, but reimposition as reflected in the August 14 journal.
May we
So-
just ask the Secretariat to correct this, please? We can do that.
Yes, it is obviously a typographical error.
Obviously.
Mr. President.
I
And
agree.
so we would request the Secretariat to make the appropriate correction.
I agree. The Secretary is directed to make the proper correction. Thank you. So, Majority Leader,
Just
would
one
you
more
like to-
point,
Yes.
just for the information of Senator Pia. We have a 10-lane highway in Iloilo City plus 1 bicycle lane, a total of 11 highways, the only one of its kind in the country. Thank you, Mr. President.
Kulang pa pala yung sinabi ng Majority Leader.
Iba talaga mga Ilonggo. Kasi kapwa ko Ilonggo yan. Mr. President, I almost forgot that today is your birthday.
No, Saturday.
No. Saturday pa. Saturday is your birthday. But since we're on break tomorrow, dapat po may blowout today. Just lang.
That is the reason I was asking that you suspend the session for a while, because my wife sent some...
My problem, Mr. President, there is an urgent matter to be taken up.
what is this?
That is the speech of Senator Gordon. He had asked me to ask to be made priority, Mr. President, of his speech.
All right. What we can do to accommodate our guest is ask the President Pro Tem to
Correct,
take
Mr.
over,
President.
and Senator Villanueva to take over your chores, and that Senator Angara join us in the lounge to
For accept the budget.
the budget
national
being
budget.
submitted by the Department of Budget and Management.
That's correct, Mr. President.
If the Minority Leader and Senator Lacson would care to join us, we will be welcome to. They will be welcome to do so.
Therefore, Mr. President, I move to recognize the distinguished gentleman from Subic and Zambales no other than Senator Richard Gordon to deliver a privileged speech.
Senator Richard Gordon is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I don't want to be a sourpuss, but I think I just don't want to miss the moment. I rise today on a point of collective privilege, Mr. President, on the matter of the situation in our country today concerning the prevalence and epidemic proportions that dengue has reached, Mr. President. Today, Mr. President, dengue has risen to 8,000 cases, or 188,562 cases of dengue from January 1 to the present, Mr. President. That is a 102% increase from the 93,149 cases. Wala ba dun yan?
Last year.
And Mr. President, as of today, there have been 807 deaths, Mr. President. Patay po 807 now, or a 62.4% increase from the 497 deaths during the same period. To be sure, Mr. President, talagang nagkakalat ng dengue sa halos sa buong mundo. But tayo ang pinakamarami, although mas mataas ang intensity, ang rate, dahil mababa ang population ng ibang bansa katulad ng Vietnam or katulad ng Cambodia. Pero tayo, marami tayong tao, kaya marami tayong tinatamaan ng dengue ngayon. So, it is important that we focus on this problem because we are just entering into the rainy season or about to enter the middle part, and you're going to have a lot more dengue cases as we go along. Now, Mr. President, how did we get to this? Mr. President, by way of background, as you know, the Blue Ribbon Committee investigated the Dengvaxia, purchase, Mr. President. Something that was not really needed by the country because at lubos po, mas malaki pa ang ginastos dito sa Dengvaxia kaysa sa extended program of immunization. 3.5 billion po ang ginastos dito sa Dengvaxia, pero ang EPI natin composed of measles, rubella, and all the other cases ay umabot lang ng 3 billion, Mr. President. So talagang mukhang nagkaroon ng konting nakakagulat na sitwasyon. At ito po ay dumaan sa napakabilis na proseso. I will cut to the chase. 3 beses nakipagkita si President Aquino sa mga opisyales ng Sanofi at pagkatapos siyang napupunta doon, bumibilis at kasama pa si Secretary, at that time, Secretary Garin. At ang pinakamabilis ay yung last time, December 1, pagbalik nila galing sa Paris, yung huling bisita in 2015, ay pagbalik nila by December 28, meron ng kaagad SARO. At by April, nagtututurok na sila ng ineksyon without the necessary preparation that is required. Para magturok kayo ng 800,000 people, Mr. President, dapat paghandaan yan, dapat sabihan ng mga tao kung anong itinuturok sa kanila, alamin kung anong sakit nila, if they are sick or having fever or anything like that, alamin kung nagka-dengue na sila o hindi pa nagka-dengue. Ang masakit po nito, when this happened, at pumutok ito, ang nangyari po ay natuklasan natin sa ating hearing na ito palang Dengvaxia ay hindi dapat ibigay kung wala pang dengue yung bata. Zero negative ang tao dyan. Ang nangyari po ay turok ng turok at ngayon nadagdagan pa ng apoy ang PAO ay pumasok at talagang sinasabi maraming namamatay at kanilang ginagawa yung kanilang autopsy. Wala po akong pakialam doon because ang tingin ko wala pa talaga sa aking pananaw, wala pa talagang mapapakitang scientific connection between Dengvaxia and the deaths. It doesn't mean that hindi nakakamatay ang Dengvaxia, pero dapat nire-research muna yan para malaman natin. However, if you limit the search for Dengvaxia, pwede mo alamin ngayon, lalo na ang dami-daming may dengue, lalo na doon sa Region 4A na sinaksakan ng ineksyon. Sumulat na po ako kay Secretary Duque noong pang July para sabihin sa kanya, you better check yung listahan ninyo na sinaksakan nyo ng ineksyon o vaccine dyan sa 4A at tignan ninyo kung doon sa mga yon may namatay o may nasaktan o may nagkaroon ng masamang sakit, and then himayin nyo para malaman nyo yung mga namatay, yung ba dating walang dengue. They don't have dengue. That's not very difficult, Mr. President. You have the list of the dengue folks that na-election na nila, and then you segregate those that nagkaroon ng sakit o nagkaroon ng namatay, and then you can find out whether yung mga namatay ay first-timer na nagkaroon ng dengue after they were given dengue. So up to now, wala pa po akong nakukuhang palit dahil inaaral pa nila. Medyo mahirap pong aralin yung problemang yan. Sa mga tweet po, ang problema natin ngayon ay ito. Ipinilit yung dengue talagang malawakan ineksyonan ng ginawa, vaccination, na hindi pa natetest para tayong ginawang human experimentation dito. And in the process, Mr. President, talagang nagkaroon ng kalampagan na nung sinabi na ng PAO na 188 na ata yung kanilang inotopsy o 144 na inotopsy nila, yan raw, dengue ang may gawa. Dalawa po naging epekto niyan. Natakot ang taong magpa-ineksyon o magpa-vaccine. Kaya kahapon, nandito si Senator Cayetano at sinasabi niya, merong polio na bumabaksak at bumabalik ang polio. But we're not the only ones that have that. Even in UK, I was just talking with the British ambassador before the session, and he was saying they also have vaccine problems with measles, rubella, and other things that occurred 3 or 4 years ago na pumalpak o yung pag-present nila pumalpak. So, nagkakaroon ng iwas ngayon sa vaccination. Bukod dyan, ang isang naging problema dyan ay hindi lamang yung umiiwas ang tao, pero habang buhay ngayon, and the parents of those who had dengue, who were given dengue, some of them are here. Pakitayo lang ho, ayan ho sila. Ayan sa tabi, sa gallery, kahapon no, pumisita sila, nagulat ako, inahanap ni Senator Go, kinausap nila ako, and they were saying na hindi napapabayaan sila na dapat alagaan sila ng ating gobyerno sapagkat pinilit sila. Hindi naman nila alam kung ano mangyayari sa kanila pag inineksyonan. Please sit down, Bo. They did not ask to be inoculated. It is the government that insisted na magkakaroon sila ng mass vaccination. At sabi, okay ito, pagkagaling kayo dyan sa dengue, di kayo magkakaroon ng dengue, payag lahat sila, not knowing that it has repercussions. That is something that is abominable, Mr. President. Especially in the light of the fact that our Constitution, Article 2, sinasabi dyan that the state shall promote the right of the people towards health consciousness and must instill health consciousness in the people. Sa makatuwid, Tagalogin ko, ang Estado ay kailangan proteksyonan at i-promote ang the right to health. So may karapatan itong mga tao ngayon na talagang bigyan sila ng tulong ng ating gobyerno at saka instill yung health consciousness sa kanila. Eh paano ma-instill ang gobyerno nga ang nagtulak ng maling dengue sa kanila? At ang nangyayari ngayon, habang buhay, itong mga magulang na ito ay matatakot tuwing magkakasakit ang kanilang anak ng fever, takbo ng takbo yan sa ospital sapagkat ang sabi doon sa literature, mabuti na ang sigurado, sinasabi rin ng Department of Health yan, pagka may fever at nasaksakan kayo, tumakbo na kayo kaagad sa ospital para hindi kayo madidihado sumama. On the other hand, ano ba ang posisyon dito ng World Health Organization? Sabi ng World Health Organization on the dengue vaccine, for countries considering vaccination as part of their dengue control strategy, vaccination screening is the recommended, prior vaccination screening is the recommended strategy. Meaning to say, screening mo muna kung yun ay may dengue na o wala pa. Kung walang dengue, dapat ginagawa rin ng Center for Disease Control ng Amerika, dengue vaccine is approved for use in children 9 to 16 years old living in areas where dengue is common. with laboratory and confirmed prior dengue virus inspection, Mr. President. Sa mga kapatid, kung may prior dengue infection, at least malalaman nila, hindi sila magpapa-injection. Pero hindi naman sinabi sa kanila yan. Tinira na naman tinira. And Mr. President, can I have a special vaccine for people who are noisy behind me? Thank you, Mr. President. I don't think we have a vaccine on noisy women, Mr. President. This is hard because I always deliver my speeches extemporaneously, Mr. President. So, with your permission, please allow me to concentrate. Thank you. You're already distracting enough because of your beauty, but do not distract me with your noise. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Now, having said that, Mr. President, let me just say that the country, therefore, now has to own up. Oh, mabigat po yan. The country has to own up, the government has got to own up to its responsibility because nagtulak sila ng gamot na hindi pala magaling at pumalpak, and therefore, they must now learn to take care because they created the mistakes that we are now having. Wala naman pong masama dyan eh. Tungkulin talaga ng gobyerno yan. Malinaw na malinaw sa konstitusyon yan, sinasabi yan. Na dapat turuan ang ating mga kababayan kung paano sila mapoproteksyonan ng ating bayan. So, kailangan mapatunay at mapatunayan natin, may kasalanan ng gobyerno. Bilang nyo, ang pagkabilis-bilis naman. Sobrang bilis, nakakakuha kagad ng SARO for 3.2 billion pesos, 3.5 billion, ang hirap-hirap ko ng SARO, in less than 1 month, Mr. President. So talagang tinulak yan. So sa madaling sabi po, Mr. President, the government has to own up, and at the same time, tutuloy na ako para mas mabilis, we must use this opportunity now na meron tayong dengue. Ayoko sabihin opportunity yan, marami nagkakasakit ngayon. In fact, the Red Cross is doing its job to support the government. We have 10 air-conditioned tents all over the country today. We have provided 7,000 units of blood, and you can see the tents there, and we are providing that because umaapaw sa mga hospital po ang mga pasyente. Sila na mismo ang tumatawag sa Red Cross. Kaya nagpakuha pa po ako ng maraming tents na air-conditioned para maikalat sa buong Pilipinas. Bukod dyan, nilagyan pa po natin ng moskitero sapagkat nung inuna nilagay yan, may nakapansin sa UP, Sir, sabi nga lang, dapat lagyan nyo ng moskitero sapagkat yan dengue, virus, yung Egyptine mosquito na yan, pag kumagat yan, pupunta doon sa kabila na walang dengue, hahaba na naman yung proseso ng dengue. Kakalat pa yan. So, sa madaling sabi po, Mr. President, importante, therefore, na alisto tayo. Kung ang Red Cross alisto, di lalo dapat ang gobyerno. Hindi naman po kami nag-issue ng dengue vaccine. So, sa madaling sabi po, Mr. President, we now say that there is now an opportunity for us to examine, as I pointed out, lahat ng mga nagkaroon ng dengue ngayon. At alamin natin kung sila ay naturukan nang wala pa silang dengue. Kung wala, it presents a very great opportunity for us that for the first time, meron tayong ebidensya na malinaw na pwedeng managot ang Sanofi sa Pilipinas, sa mga taong naturukan, at dapat magbayad sila ng perwisyo sa mga namatay o sa mga nasaktan. Na Mr. President, yung sinasabi po natin dito ay mahalaga because up to now, hindi tayo makapagdemanda dahil wala tayong katibayan. Sa dami ng dengue ngayon, kung makikita natin na meron tinamaan ng dengue na na binigyan ng ineksyon na wala pa siya ng dengue, meron tayong kahit na paano na katibayan na pwedeng habulin ngayon ang Sanofi for the first time. O di kaya naman, kung di namatay, nagkaroon ng very, very vicious dengue. Climbing walls, nilalagnat, daming dugo, binibigay. Yan sinasabi, doon sa sinabi mismo ng Sanofi na tinago nila. 1 year po tinago ng Sanofi yung sinasabi na kailangan hindi turukan ang taong wala pang dengue. Tinago nila, nauna pa tayo sa broom, sa Blue Ribbon. Dahil tinawag natin si Dr. Halsted na isang sikat at eksperto na doktor laban sa dengue, at ang World Health Organization, sinabi rin sa atin. Pero ang Sanofi, Sinabi yan after we discovered that. So talagang may pananagutan. They were not clear. They were trying to evade responsibility. And therefore, it is important for us now to go after Sanofi kung mapapatunayan natin na may kinalaman yan. Now, Mr. President, ang epekto nitong bakunang ito will be 1 year kung ikaw ay naturukan ng hindi ka pa nagkakaroon ng dengue. Anytime you could have bad dengue when you're infected by dengue. That is the literature on the matter. Now, Mr. President, ang importante dito ngayon, therefore, isabulin natin yan. Pero dapat rin nating malaman na pagka hinabol natin yan, Mr. President, may muka yung mga taong yan. And today, kahapon, nung kausap ko sila, merong isang tao dyan, si Jonathan de Guzman. Jonathan, nandiyan ba si Jonathan? He's not here today. Umiiyak siya kahapon, lalaking talagang namatay yung anak niya at nagkaroon ng severe leukemia. Now, hindi niya sabi ko sa kanya, hindi natin mapapatunayan na baka dengue siya may pakana niyan. This is the other aspect. Because kung lahat sila mayroong mga nagkaroon ng mga sakit na hindi pangkaraniwan, halimbawa, yung isang bata, naligo na sa dating ng gabi, nagkakaroon ng hot flash, naliligo sa midnight, nagkakaroon ng change of personality. Dapat tungkulin ng gobyerno, kunin lahat siyang mga nangyayaring yan, ipunin at ibigay sa mga dalubhasa para mapatunayan if there is really side effects na hindi natin anticipated. And if there is, that should be included as part of the research. It is only fair, Mr. President. Tungkulin natin yan. It is the duty of the government to protect its citizens, Mr. President, especially kung sila ang may gawa ng pagtulak nitong dengue vaccine na ito. Sa totoo lang, sinasabi, nagkalat raw sa buong mundo. Tinigil na ng Mexico, Mr. President. Alam nyo, ang strategy na itong Sanofi, kukuha ng isang bayan katulad ng Pilipinas na 107 million, kukuha ng isang bayan katulad ng Mexico na 137 million, at kung tinanggap yan at nag-work, bawi yung kanilang kapital na pinasok. Madali lang ibenta yung dengue nila. Eh, ang nangyari, pumutok dito, kaya nag-atrasan, pati Brazil umatras. At ang totoo niyan, to be fair, and I always seek to be fair, Mr. President, you could have dengue siya. Pinayagan natin yan dito. Pero, under the supervision of a doctor, babayad ka sa doktor mo para bantayan ka. Ganon rin sa Amerika, ganon rin sa Singapore, Mr. President. Pero dito, hindi sinabi yun, binigay na lang, parang minasinggan lahat ng tao ng dengue vaccine na walang pasubali. So ngayon, nagkakaroon tayo ng malaking problema at dadami pa yan. Ang tinamaan dito dapat, Central Luzon, Metro Manila at Region 4. Meron din sa Cebu. Therefore, dapat makita yan. So far, ang pinakamalaking tama doon sa iniksyonan ay naandito sa Region 4. At kayang-kaya na ngayon hanapin yan kung talagang tutusin. Now, Mr. President, it is important for us because we are the forum of the people. We claim to be the representatives of the people. We took an oath to abide by the Constitution that says we have to protect the people. And now, Mr. President, this is a golden opportunity upon which we can help these poor parents, thousands of them, tens of thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them, na matulungan sila kung nagkakasakit yung kanilang anak. And it is also a golden opportunity to use it as research. We want to be able to learn from this research so that this country where dengue is endemic. Dito po na-discover ang dengue sa ating bansa. Dengue hemorrhagic fever, dito na discover yan. And can you imagine, kung ang maliit na bansa ng Singapore or Hong Kong ay nakalaban sila were at the forefront of SARS, why can this country, with so many doctors, why can we not use our doctors to examine kung ano ang impact nito at para magkaroon tayo ng panlaban sa dengue? We should be the dengue research capital of the world. We should make the Philippines fortress dengue. Hindi makakapasok ang dengue. And who knows, baka merong isang Pilipino na makadiscover talaga ng tunay na rason kung ba't nagkakaroon ng ganyang mga sakit, baka maging Nobel Peace Prize pa yan sa mga Nobel awardee in medicine, Mr. President. That is not far-fetched. And I am not ruling that out. So the long and the short of it is we're facing a crisis, but I believe we have an opportunity before us to become a fortress against dengue, Mr. President. Having said that, Mr. President, we owe it upon ourselves to take care of these parents who are here today. Mr. President, tayo ay mga magulang. Si Cynthia Villar, maraming apo rin yan. Ako, maraming apo. Ito si Amy Marcos, kahit na mukhang bata, meron na rin atang apo, isa. Can you imagine, wag naman mangyari, kung tayo ay magkakaroon. I have had my grandchildren have dengue, and believe you me, they were climbing walls. Kayang-kaya natin, buong pamilya, 5 sila. They had dengue. Nakakatakot po yan. In fact, 3 days ago, last week, Mr. President, I lost a patient from America. Tumawag sa akin, I don't even know them. Sir, pwede bang padala nyo ng dugo yung pamangkin ko? Mahirap lang sila. Sa Las Piñas. And hinanong ko ang pangalan, and we sent blood there. She was very grateful. The next day, she texted me, Sir, maraming salamat, but my niece died. And you know what? Sabi niya gano'n, napakahirap po nito, sakit na itong dengue ito. At ang problema ho natin dyan, sabi niya gano'n, ay kahit na umabot yung dugo nyo, hindi na namin maibigay dahil masyadong matindi. Gano'n rin ho, isa rito sa atin sa mga reporter natin, tumawag sa akin last week. Sa Nagcarlan, meron siyang kapatid na nurse, may mahirap doon, nangangailangan ng dugo. Tumawag sa akin, kagad, sabi ko, padala nyo na ng ambulansya yan, lagay nyo yung dugo doon, hindi na dapat pumunta sa Red Cross yan, dali na yung dugo sapagkat baka mamatay. Unfortunately, namatay rin. And then recently, just 3 days ago, somebody from the Netherlands, medyo arrogante pa, tumawag sa akin, they say you can help in dengue. I can prove all these things, Mr. President. Sabi niya, yung anak ko may dengue nasa Palawan. Hinanap pa po namin sa El Nido Resort, tumawag ko sa presidente ng Ayala, at 2 o'clock in the morning, pinahanap niya, wala doon, hinanap niya sa bayan, nakita doon, pero papunta na sa Coron. At hinanap ng Red Cross sa Coron, lahat ng hotel, lahat ng hospital, nakuha namin yan, at dinala natin sa Maynila yan, kinundo pa ng ambulansya sa airport, at mabuti na lang, nag-negative. Pero pasalamat ng pasalamat ang Netherlands, yung Dutch, na nagpunta pa rito, umuwi, ganun katakot sila, sila mag-asawa nagpunta rito para kunin nila yung 24-year-old daughter nila para ibalik sa Netherlands. But at least they are grateful to our volunteers and staff of the Red Cross na tumulong sa kanila. Why am I digressing from this point of view? Because there must be a sense of urgency. If the Red Cross has that sense of urgency, then the government must have the same kind of sense of urgency for these parents here, for all those people that were inoculated by dengue vaccine, Mr. President. So today, napakasimple lang naman po eh. Ano ba yung mga pinopropose natin? Yung research. Hindi po ba pwede na mag-budget ang Department of Health na dapat doon sa family medicine, doon sa kanilang residency, maglagay ng 3 o 5 doktor doon sa family health para isasama nila yung dengue para magkakaroon tayo sa lahat ng public health hospital ng dengue experts at sasama-sama nila yung napag-aralan nila para magkaroon tayo ng panlaban sa dengue. Pwede po yan, madaling gawin yan. That is what we propose. Dito po pwedeng magawa natin kagad yung research doon sa mga tinamaan ng dengue. Hindi po pwedeng sabihin natin na bilisan nyo na yung research dyan para ma-solve natin ang problema. Mr. President, we are having a crisis right now. And if we do not take advantage of this crisis, baka makalampas na naman yan. Ang Philippines ay tinatawag natin a boulevard of broken dreams and opportunities. Now, Mr. President, I would also like to propose, before this Congress ended last year, late last year, ang nangyari po dyan ay may nakadaan, sinauli ng Sanofi, dahil doon sa investigasyon ng Broom, sinauli po yung 1.2 billion na binayad natin sa Sanofi. Eh hindi ho napasa. Napasa sa lower house, napasa natin dito, pero nagkatalo doon sa bicameral conference committee, hindi napasa. Gusto po natin maibalik yan para yung mga taong nagkasakit at yung paggagamitan ng research, diyan kunin. Sapagkat kailangan po maggamit yan para matulungan natin. Pero ngayon, pag ilalabas po natin, nag-usap kami ni Senator Go, Sabi namin, kailangan mayroon tayong certification na may funds yan. Meron naman talagang funds sabagat nakalagay sa Treasury yung 1.2 billion na yan. So I implore our colleagues here in the Senate, I don't care what you call it, Dengvaxia or whatever you call it, dengue-affected people, para wala ng politika dyan, ilabas na lang natin na, sige, bibigay natin yan para magamit ng mga tao yan. If we develop specialists in dengue, we will have enough experts in this country for the next outbreak in 2021. They go in 2 to 3 year cycles, Mr. President. So pagka dumami yung mga residente natin, malaking bagay yan. Finally, hindi pa po lumalabas yung verdict and safety of Dengvaxia. Kailangan natin talagang gamitin yung ebidensya na makukuha natin dyan. At saka dapat baguhin na po natin yung style dyan sa Department of Health, yung formulary na nai-influensya. Sinabi ko na yan, iwala natin yan DOH sa FDA. Kapag nakakausap nila yung FDA, ayaw ng FDA, galing sa Malacanang, sa nakaraang administrasyon, sabi ng isang appointee dyan, wala na kayong magagawa dyan, approve na yan sa taas, kaya kailangan bilhin natin yan. Kaya in so short a time, lumabas ang pera, lumabas ang saro, ginastos, talagang binaccinate ang maraming tao, tapos ang laki ng problema natin. For that alone, they must answer for it. Right now, Mr. President, doon sa Metropolitan, doon sa Children's Memorial, na-complain sa akin yung mga magulang, sabi hindi sila makapasok. Then sabi nila, pagpapasok kayo dito, wala na kaming budget. Kaya pumasok na lang kayo sa isang hospital. Kung puno rin, napupunta yung mga taong tinamaan ng dengue sa private hospital, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, pag ginawa mo yan, double book na. Kinakabahan na sila, nagkasakit na sila vaccine has in the control of typhoid fever. No sanitary authority would desire to substitute typhoid vaccine. Hindi po kailangan i-substitute yung typhoid vaccine for the supply of pure water and food. So we must not accept the yellow fever vaccine as a substitute for the elimination of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. The vaccine provides individual protection for the person who cannot be protected by more general measures. In general measures po yan, ay tinatawag natin paglilinis ng ating mga kababayan. Because of that, Mr. President, I think we would, if we do all this, I think we would be following the constitutional mandate for us to protect our people. We would be protecting those na tinamaan dahil sa pagkakamali ng nakaraang gobyerno. Dapat po magkaroon talaga finally ng closure yung mga tao. Sino ba talaga ang gumawa nito. Sino ang dapat parusahan? Hindi naman natin dapat palampasin ito na walang mapaparusahan sa kanilang kasakiman, Mr. President. We must really look out for these people who introduced this to our country, who forced the issue in this country, and we must have the closure that is necessary because in this country, namamatay lahat ang mga tao, maraming pinapatay, walang closure, walang nasosolve. Pati dengue, wala rin nasosolve. Pati husgado, napakabagal, wala rin nako-close. Hanggang ngayon, di pa natin alam kung sino pumatay kay Ninoy Aquino. At hanggang ngayon, di pa natin mailibing si Bonifacio sapagkat hindi natin alam kung siya ay hero, walang closure, o si Aguinaldo ba ay national hero. At pati nga sila Pulabo pinagtatalunan pa. It seems that we are afraid to make strong decisions in this country, and that is why I posit, Mr. President, acta non verba. Action, not words. Thank you very much, Mr. President. And thank you very much, Majority Leader, for your patience.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we refer the gentleman's speech to the Committee on Health and Demography as well as the Blue Ribbon Committee, as requested by the chairperson, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? There being none, motion's approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, move for the reference of business.
Reference of business.
Reference of business, bills on first reading. Senate numbers 908, an act establishing the National Defense University of the Philippines and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to the Committees on National Defense, Higher Education, and Finance.
Senate number 909, an act amending Republic Act number 7880, or otherwise known as an act providing for the fair and equitable allocation of the Department of Education budget for capital outlay, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
Senate number 910, an act to professionalize the practice of prison management and set for that purpose the qualifications for superintendents of the National Prison System and wardens of provincial, city, or municipal jails, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Justice, Civil Service, yes, those two.
Senate number 911, an act promoting open access in data transmission, providing additional powers to the National Telecommunications Commission and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Science and Technology and Public Services.
Senate number 912, an act strengthening the Office of the Government Corporate Counsel by rationalizing and further professionalizing its organization, upgrading positions, and appropriating funds therefore, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Justice, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate number 913, an act instituting policies for the protection and welfare of caregivers in the practice of their profession, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Labor.
Senate number 914, an act reclassifying the salary and qualifications of certain employees in the judiciary and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Justice, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate number 915, an act amending certain provisions of Republic Act number 7431, otherwise known as the Radiologic Technology Act of 1992 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Civil Service.
Senate number 916, an act regulating harbor pilotage services and the conduct of harbor pilots in all ports in the Philippines and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Public Services.
Senate number 917, an act creating the Philippine Rice Development Authority, defining its powers and functions, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Government Corporations, Economic Affairs, and Finance.
Senate number 918, an act further amending Republic Act number 8182 as amended by Republic Act number 8555 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs.
Senate number 919, an act amending Republic Act number 7042, otherwise known as the Foreign Investments Act of 1991, as amended by Republic Act number 8179 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs.
Senate number 920, an act providing for the Magna Carta of the Out-of-School Youth, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Youth and Finance.
Senate number 921, an act amending Republic Act number 8762, otherwise known as the Retail Trade Liberalization Act and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Trade.
Senate number 922, an act informing the public about the additives in pet food, introduced by Senator Binay.
To the Committees on Trade and Health.
Senate number 923, an act mandating the inclusion of barangay officials within the coverage of the government service insurance GSIS, amending for this purpose Public Act Number 8291 entitled The Government Service Insurance System Act of 1997 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Villar.
To the Committees on Government Corporations and Public Enterprises and Local Government.
Senate Number 924, an act granting the Magna Carta for daycare workers, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Villar.
To the Committees on Social Justice, Civil Service, and Finance.
Senate Number 925, an act instilling and strengthening the sense of patriotism and nationalism among the youth through the institutionalization, development, and administration of fundamental and specialized programs in the basic education curriculum in all public and private educational institutions, introduced by Senator Cayetano.
To the Committee on Basic Education.
Resolutions, PS Resolution Number 97, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the implementation of the NSTP law with the end in view of strengthening the National Service Training Program and its Reserve Officers Training Corps, RTC component, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committees on Higher Education and National Defense and Security.
PS Resolution Number 98, a resolution directing the Senate Committee on Energy to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the Philippines' natural gas industry policy with the end in view of enacting a comprehensive natural gas regulatory framework towards energy security, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Energy.
PS Resolution Number 99, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the status of Marawi City Reconstruction and Rehabilitation Program for the purpose of expediting its implementation and ensuring that proper relief is provided to internally displaced persons, introduced by Senator Gatchalian.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 100, resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate of the Philippines on the death of Ms. Regina Paz Gina L. Lopez, former Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, introduced by Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
PS Resolution Number 101, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the irrigation programs and projects implemented by the National Irrigation Administration with the end in view of strengthening government mechanisms to enforce public procurement laws, to ensure prudent utilization of public resources, and to provide timely and adequate agricultural support services to Filipino farmers, introduced by Senator Recto.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Public Works, and Finance.
Communications, letters from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas transmitting to the Senate copies of the following certified and authenticated BSP issuances in compliance with Section 15A of Republic Act Number 7653, the New Central Bank Act. Memorandum numbers M 2019-017, 018, 019, 020, 21, dated 28 June 2, 1923, July 2019. Circular letters number CL 2019-043, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, dated 19, 21, 27, June 1, 8, 9, 5, 16 July 2019, and circular number 1042, dated 25 July 2019.
To the Committee on Banks.
Letter from the Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs, Department of Foreign Affairs, submitting to the Senate the report to Congress on assistance to nationals for the period of July to December 2018 in digital format, pursuant to Section number 33 of Republic Act number 8042, otherwise known as the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act of 1995, as amended by Republic Act number 10022.
To the Committee on Labor and the Committee on Foreign Relations.
Additional reference of
There
business.
is additional reference of business. You may proceed.
Bills on first reading. Senate number 926, an act classifying vote buying and vote selling as unlawful activity under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, amending for this purpose RA 9160 as amended, also known as an act defining the crime of money laundering, providing penalties therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gordon.
To the Committees on Banks and Electoral Reforms.
Senate number 927, an act requiring basic citizen service training, establishing the Citizen Service Corps, creating the Citizen Service Commission for the purpose, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gordon.
To the Committees on Higher Education, National Defense, and Finance.
Senate number 928, an act appropriating the sum of 1,161,710,000 pesos as supplemental appropriations for fiscal year 2019 and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Gordon.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 929, an act penalizing presentation of suspects and release of their private information to the press or public before formal charges are filed in court, introduced by Senator De Lima.
To the Committees on Public Order and Justice.
Senate number 930, an act to ensure easier commuting by establishing a network of sustainable elevated walkways along all major public thoroughfares in high-density urban areas, establishing appropriate infrastructure and facilities, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes, introduced by Senator Poe.
Referred to the Committees on Public Works and Finance. Just
Yes, Mr. President.
out of curiosity, there is a bill, there is a resolution filed honoring former Secretary Gina Lopez. May I ask the Minority Leader if he remembers my vote?
Did we take it up today, Mr. President?
No, my vote on the confirmation of Secretary Lopez. Do you remember? The Minority Leader. I showed it to you. You showed yours to mine, to me.
Both of us voted in the affirmative, Mr.
Correct.
President.
Yeah, it's good you remember. Thank you.
Where is
minor-
the resolution already filed? Has the
Yes,
resolution already filed?
it's in the Committee on Rules.
It's in the committee, so we can report it out, Mr. President, with the
Yes.
permission of the body.
Yes.
So, I move, Mr. President, that we take up a particular resolution number. I do not have the resolution number,
It's
Mr. President.
Resolution number 100.
I move to take up resolution number 100, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none.
May we ask the
So, in
Secretary
order.
to read the title of the measure?
Secretary will read the title of the measure.
PS Resolution Number 100, resolution expressing the profound sympathy and sincere condolences of the Senate of the Philippines on the death of Ms. Regina Paz Gina L. Lopez, former Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources.
Without prejudice into inserting into the records the contents of the resolution.
Yes, Mr. President, before we act on this resolution, may I ask that all members of the chamber be made as co-sponsors and co-authors?
If there is no objection, it is so noted.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I move to adopt PS Resolution Number 100, Mr. President. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, PS Resolution 100 is hereby adopted.
Thank you, Mr.
The
President.
Secretary is directed to send to the families a copy of the Senate's resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, just a few housekeeping matters. Additional transfer of committee referrals. Mr. President, after the review of the committee referrals,
Before that,
Yes, Mr.
just for the record, the resolution just passed. We approved it subject to style.
subject to style, Mr. President.
All right.
Thank you.
You may proceed.
Mr. President, after the review of committee referrals we had made in previous sessions, in order to harmonize the committee referrals of similar bills and ensure that the same are referred to the proper committees, with the consent of the body, I move that we transfer committee referrals of the following bills. Senate Bill Number 339, or the Public School Security Act, from Committee on Education to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection?
Two and number 738, or the bills on lowering the mandatory and optional retirement age of government employees to be primarily referred to the Committee on Civil Service and secondarily to the Committee on Government Corporations. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Motion approved.
Mr. President, with the adoption of Senate Resolution Number 6, it's the resolution amending Section 13 of our rules of the Senate, dividing the Committee on Education, Arts, and Culture into two separate standing committees. We created the Committee on Basic Education, Arts, and Culture, and the Committee on Higher Technical and Vocational Education. We hereby move to transfer several bills originally referred to the committees on the single Committee on Education, Mr. President. I move, Mr. President, that we transfer the following bills to the Committee on Basic Education, Arts, and Culture as the primary committee. If with the permission of the body, may I just read the Senate bill numbers to
Yes.
hasten the proceedings?
Yes.
And maybe we can,
All for basic education first.
yes, Mr. President,
right.
maybe we can just flash in the screen the titles.
Yes, we will accept the Senate bill numbers.
Yes. Senate Bill Number 37, this is for the transfer to the Committee on Basic
Education only.
Arts, and Culture.
Yes.
Senate Bill Number 37, Senate Bill Number 55, Senate Bill number 69, Senate Bill number 70, Senate Bill number 78, Senate Bill number 89, Senate Bill number 99, Senate Bill number 104, Senate Bill number 113, Senate Bill number 147, Senate Bill number 157, SB number 171, SB number 214, SB number 228, SB number 272, SB number 310, SB number 329, SB number 330, SB number 338, Senate Bill number 345, Senate Bill number 367, SB number 369, and Senate number 397.
Any objection? Hearing none, so transferred.
Mr. President, as for the following bills, I move that we referred primarily to the Committee on Basic Education and secondarily to the Committee on Higher Technical Vocational Education. We will also move that with the consent of the body, as provided under Section 15 of our rules, that the original secondary referral of the following bills be considered as third committee referral, since said bills reasonably covers the jurisdiction of the three committees as referred. So, Mr. President.
Hold
yes.
on. I don't think we can allow a third committee unless it's the Ways and Means or Finance.
Mr. President, under Section 15 of our rules, the Committee on Rules can decide on a third
All
referral.
right, okay.
Mr. President, yes.
Proceed.
This is for the secondary to higher technical vocational education, Senate Bill number 118, Senate Bill number 129, Senate Bill number 132, Senate Bill number 177, Senate Bill number 191, Senate Bill number 212, Senate Bill number 227, Senate Bill number 286, Senate Bill number 311, Senate Bill number 320, Mr. President, Senate Bill, I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, approved.
Mr. President, on the other hand, I move to transfer the following bills to the Committee on Higher and Technical Vocational Education as primary committee. These are Senate Bill number 64, Senate Bill number 142, Senate Bill number 278, Senate Bill number 346, Senate Bill number 361, and Senate Bill number 370. I so move.
Any objection? Chair hears none. So transferred.
And the following bills, Mr. President, primarily to the the Committee on Higher Technical and Vocational Education, and secondarily to the Committee on Basic Education, Arts, and Culture. Just one bill, Mr. President, Senate Bill number 62. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion approved.
And finally, Mr. President, I move that we transfer to the committee the committee referral of Senate Bill number 927, or the bill requiring basic citizens military service training, from the Committee on Higher Education to the Committee on Basic Education. I so move. Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would like to manifest for the record that the Senate President has designated this representation as the ex officio member of the Board of Directors of the Mindanao Development Authority, representing the Senate. This is pursuant to Section 9 of Republic Act 9996, or the Charter of Minda. Thank you, Mr. President. For the record.
Yes, we place that on record again.
There's a request on the Committee on Urban Planning and Committee on Local Government that there'll be a third referral, Mr. President. May I ask for 1 minute suspension, Mr. President? 1 minute.
Session suspended. Session resumed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one last housekeeping matter. Mr. President, request of the chairperson of the Committee on Local Government as an additional referral to his committee, Senate Bill number 316. This is an act improving, promoting quality delivery of health services to the barangay health workers, and as well as Senate Bill number 483 and Senate Bill number 231, all to the Committee on Local Government as additional referral.
Any objection? Hearing none, so transferred, additional.
Additional referral.
Additional referral.
Mr. President, I move. With that, no other matters to be taken up today. May we recognize Senator Drilon, Mr. President.
The Minority Leader, Senator Frank Drilon, is recognized.
Mr. President, just a manifestation on the floor. The Majority Leader instructed me to question decorum, but I will not do that.
There's no such thing, Mr. President. He's just teasing.
So he said it in a whisper. That's why the rest did not hear it. All right.
The truth, Mr. President, he whispered to me that he has a dinner in his house. God is watching us, Mr. President. Mr. President, with that, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, August 27th.
Tuesday?
Tuesday, Mr. President. we have-
August 27th. Wow.
Yes. Because we have no work, I believe, on August 26th. It's a holiday,
All right.
National Heroes Day. And tomorrow, it's August 21, is also a holiday. So I wish everybody a long, happy weekend this weekend.
But not the employees of the Senate. Because
Unfortunately, Mr. President,
they
yes.
have to go to work on Thursday.
Unfortunately.
All right. Anyway, so the motion. Huh? All right. Before we act on the motion, may we just place on record that there is also a PS Resolution 105 honoring former Secretary Gina Lopez, and this is authored by Senator Pacquiao. So, with the permission of the chamber, we would like to entertain a motion by the Majority
Mr.
Leader
President.
to take into consideration
Yes, Mr.
PS
President.
Resolution 105 in what we approved.
I move, Mr. President, we take in consideration PS Resolution 105 to PS Resolution 100 that we just approved earlier. Mr.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none. So considered. 105.
Thank you. Mr.
Now,
President,
the motion to adjourn.
yes, Mr. President, I move to adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Tuesday, August 27, 2019.
Any objection?
Happy birthday, boss.
Hearing none. Hearing none. The session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, August 27, 2019.
Huwag haggard, Palmolive Natural Silky Straight.
Bagong Vera, mas matibay, Ngayon, may more zinc, tulong laban sa sakit, plus more calcium, tulong sa paglaki. Kaya ang junk shop boy nun, graduate na ngayon. Bear Brand.
Sure ka bang kumpleto ang dio mo? New Nivea Whitening Powder, complete with licorice extracts and kaolin powder for underarms na di lang powder fresh and dry, whiter and smoother pa. Try new Nivea Whitening Powder. What if you can be intense? Light. Hydrocollagen technology that's water-based, easy rinse,